Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Raw review for the 12th of um, October. There we go, 2020. This is the draft show. I want to be excited. They made some moves that, if I believed in this company's ability to be compelling, then could be fun. But needless to say, I don't have that faith. I want to try. I want to believe. But it's just not there. So, on to the show. The announcers recap some of the stuff that's already happened over on SmackDown. Randy Orton comes out, starts the show. Tom Phillips, who is just mute button inducing for me anyway, mentions Orton's match against Drew McIntyre will be his 8th Hell in a Cell match. Why that matters, I don't know. Anyway, Orton admits that 2020 hasn't been good for him, but has been good for Drew McIntyre. Orton learns recently that McIntyre hadn't lost via pinfall in almost a year, and yet this isn't hyped when it happens. It's hyped later. Until he beat him last week at the RKO. Orton claims that he would beat McIntyre again inside the cell and enhance his legacy. McIntyre wanted to beat him up right now. And McIntyre, this is announced after McIntyre interrupts. He says he's knocked Orton in the head at Clash of Champions, and he had more terrible things in store for him. He's going to beat him up for himself. And McIntyre says he enters the ring. They brawl around. McIntyre drops him on the announce table. And then McIntyre, he's content to let him go, and he says he's going to have more fun with this later. Stephanie McMahon? Maybe that's like the Munchkin version. So Stephanie comes out, and she makes pick announcements. So we got Raw getting The Fiend, SmackDown gets Bayley, Raw gets Orton, SmackDown gets the Street Profits, and Raw gets Charlotte Flair. They make it appear that they're surprised by Bray Wyatt coming over to Raw. And I mean, Bray Wyatt versus Drew McIntyre, if they move away from the Orton program, has me intrigued. If they go back to Orton and Wyatt, I'm going to cry. Lots. Anyway, so a 12-minute match. Up next, no DQ, Kevin Owens and Aleister Black. Owens slams, Black slams Owens onto the announce table. By the way, it doesn't break, and they go to commercial. They come back, set up a chair in the ring. Black sweeps Owens' leg, which causes him to drop face first onto a chair. Black throws a bunch more chairs in the ring and gives him a DDT on the chair for 2. Owens then manages to get hit with 4 chair shots and tries for a superplex. Black blocks that and hits a flying double knee strike through the chairs. Why are you doing this on a random throwaway TV show? Black tries the black mass on the outside. Owens ducks, kicks the post and Black kicks the post instead. Owens gives a stunner in ring, followed by a powerbomb through a table for a pinfall. I don't know. I mean, if it's not a blow-off, why are we doing this on Raw and not a major show? Why isn't there more hype given to this? Why is this the first match of the night? So many questions. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke are talking in the back. The second round of the draft is here. So Raw gets Braun Strowman. Daniel Bryan gets drafted back to SmackDown. Matt Riddle to Raw. Kevin Owens to SmackDown. And Jeff Hardy to Raw. I don't know. I mean, Strowman, I could care less what brand he's on. I like the idea of Matt Riddle on Raw if it's done well. Kevin Owens to SmackDown could open up some interesting things. Jeff Hardy on either brand, I don't care, so I guess they're ahead in that round in sense of at least they give me some things to care about. Miz and Morrison come out, they interview Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. They make jokes about the New Day splitting and Heavy Machinery splitting as well in the draft. Morrison steals a Seth Rollins line and says it doesn't matter because he went to SmackDown. Rose and Brooke enter. Rose admonished The Miz for separating Otis and says that he's ruining lives. If your life is ruined because you're separated from an on-screen boyfriend, then maybe you need a life. Miz said that everything's going well since moving to Raw. Miz and Morrison wanted a pat on the back. Rose said she'd rather punch them in the face. Gee, that's rather violent. Miz asks Brooke if it was a good idea to be Rose's partner with the history with Sonya Deville. Brooke says Rose basically isn't biting at all this. Miz asks them about being in the Battle Royal later. Rose isn't worried about it. Natalya and Lana interrupt. Lana wondered why Brooke and Rose are here being interviewed instead of them. Lana mentioned having 2 ex-husbands and an ex-girlfriend, which made her, I guess, more interesting, but also a bit of an attention seeker. Anyway, then Miz and Morrison are still at it after a commercial break, and Rose and Brooke had made fun of them doing TikTok or whatever social media junk is out there. And I'm sorry, but if you're on social media and that's your main way of promoting yourself, it's junk, no matter who you are. They cause a brawl. Miz and Morrison are still there, as mentioned, after the break. And Lars Sullivan interrupts. Miz escapes the ring. Morrison gets beat up. Miz tries to save Morrison. It doesn't work. And they recap the breakup of the New Day. Adam Pearce speaks to Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Montez Ford, and Angelo Dawkins. Basically, they switch tag belts. So the legacy of championships, which if we believe that this is supposed to be even semi an athletic contest, should mean something. Now, yes, they mean more to me as a 30-plus year fan than the average person, but still, if belts mean nothing and can just randomly switch shows, then why should we care when men or women fight for them? Anyway, and then Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode interrupt. They wanted a title shot at the New Day and mocked them, and then that match is agreed to. Anyway, so we move on to the second hour. There's an announcement of the New Day defending the Raw Tag titles against Ziggler and Roode tonight. Next round of the draft. Who cares? Retribution goes to Raw. Lars Sullivan to SmackDown. Maybe he can stay around a little while this time. Keith Lee stays on Raw. Baron Corbin stays on SmackDown. Raw goes with Alexa Bliss. Bliss and Bray are on the same show, so that story's going to continue. Nothing really happens of note in this round. Rollins comes out and says the fans are losing the Beast Slayer and the greatest leader in Raw history. He says no one at Raw is ready to fill his shoes. It certainly wouldn't be the Mysterios, Ray or Dominic. They've also been drafted to SmackDown. Jeff Hardy interrupts. Rollins says that Hardy isn't a leader. Hardy says Rollins is drafted to SmackDown, so this wasn't Rollins' ring, it was his. Rollins laughed, and the announcers basically downplay the Lars Sullivan Jeff Hardy match that's upcoming. Rollins is about to leave. AJ Styles enters. AJ wonders if Hardy was in the ring because he thought it was last call. That was a horrible line. Anyway, Styles told Rollins to leave and said this is not Monday Night Rollins. Rollins confronts Styles, and Hardy takes both of them out. Hardy challenges them to a triple threat tag team match. But then they just have a regular triple threat match. That runs about 14 and a half minutes. Wrestling-wise, probably the best thing on the show. Rollins goes nuts on both guys. Wipes out Hardy with a suicide dive. Styles and Hardy get hit with a second dive. Commercial break here. Hardy takes over on Rollins and Styles with a whisper in the wind. But he lands awkwardly. Hardy remains in control and gets a near fall on Styles. Side Russian leg sweep, and then Styles breaks up a cover there. Styles gives Hardy a reverse DDT for a near fall. Styles sets up Style Clash, but Rollins gives him a flying knee and a Falcon Arrow. Rollins goes for the curve stomp on Styles. Hardy leaps in and gives a tornado DDT to Rollins. Styles pulls Rollins into the calf crusher, but lets go because he saw Hardy coming. Off the top, Hardy gives Rollins a swanton bomb. Styles tries to steal the pin. Rollins kicks out, and Hardy gave Styles a twist of fate, but randomly Elias, who's been gone for just about ever, shows up, nails Hardy in the back with his guitar. Styles covers Hardy with a pinfall. Great match, stupid finish. Elias goes to Raw. Nobody cares. Sami Zayn goes to SmackDown, or stays on SmackDown more accurately. Raw gets Lacey Evans. Again, who cares? SmackDown keeps Shinsuke and Cesaro, and Raw gets Sheamus. Raw getting Sheamus could be good if they use him right. I don't have faith they will. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke defeat Natalya and Lana in just under 4 minutes. Rose gives Lana a knee strike, and Brooke goes for senton. He gets the win. Lana's beaten for like the 4th or 5th time in a row. Not that anybody cares. Natalya asks Lana if she's really that stupid. Natalya said she's done with Lana, and so Lana now has no friends. Ricochet approaches the Hurt Business. Cedric Alexander's back. He must have gotten over COVID, if he had COVID, which I assume he did. Ricochet knew he might be on his own after this. Basically says to the Hurt Business, if I win, we squash all our heat. If you win, I'll join the Hurt Business. Alexander accepts the challenge on this. Just under 3 minutes, Andrade beats Angel Garza, there we go, defeats Andrade in just under 3 minutes. Zelina Vega on commentary. She says she's done with both guys. And Vega said she wasn't interested in Alexa Quinn when referencing Alexa Bliss. And her goal was to be Raw or SmackDown Women's Champ. Garza's left leg is taped up. The announcer said he's just barely cleared to compete after recent injury. Andrade's in control. Garza rams him against the side of the ring and hits the wing clipper for a pinfall. A throwaway match, especially with Garza being injured not too terribly long ago. Why did they even do this? Lights go out, and out comes Alexa Bliss, and she does the Bray Wyatt crab walk pose thingamajigger. Fiend appears behind Andrade. Fiend and Bliss give Andrade and Vega Sister Abigail's. I don't know. I guess this could be good, but if the Fiends come over to wrestle Andrade, again, who cares? Get some creative that people might actually care about. Round number 5 of the draft. Nikki Cross goes to Raw. SmackDown gets Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Raw keeps R-Truth. Apollo Crews gets SmackDown. And Dabba-Kato goes to Raw. So, overview there. Nikki Cross going to Raw could be good, I think. Dolph and Robert Roode going to SmackDown. Yeah, okay. R-Truth, who cares? Apollo Crews, didn't he leave SmackDown because no one cared about him over there? And Dabba-Kato coming to Raw. I guess that means the end of Raw Underground. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods defeat Ziggler and Robert Roode. They retain the Raw Tag Team Championships. Just a hair over 12 minutes. Ziggler gets a near fall with a famouser early. And then that's followed by a commercial break. Less than 180 seconds into the contest. Heels in control upon the return from the break. Kingston hits a double foot stomp. Makes a hot tag to Woods. And Ziggler and Roode are on the receiving end of a bunch of offense. Wood gives a slingshot DDT to Ziggler. Ziggler up for a press slam, which is impressive. Ziggler countered with his own DDT for near fall. Kingston saves Woods from Ziggler's Stinger Splash. This just doesn't seem like the right time. Woods caught Roode in a schoolboy for a near fall. Roode follows with a spine buster for his own near fall. Woods gives Roode and Zaguri. Ziggler manages to pull Kingston into things. Ziggler tags himself in. And Roode gets pinned. New Day retain their belts. Decent little match. Charlie Caruso's out. She asks Elias about Hardy. Elias says he's paying back Hardy for hitting him with a car and taking him out of action for several months. Caruso said she didn't know that it was Hardy. Elias heard it from a mystery person with red hair, but supposedly knew it was Hardy. No one cares about this storyline. He promotes a music album, which I guess is coming out on Spotify and other sound sources near you. Ricochet defeats Cedric Alexander via DQ in 5 minutes. This seems like a wasted bit of the feud. Anyway, referee goes over. MVP grabs a chair, slides it to Ricochet. MVP figured he'd use it to get disqualified. Ricochet instead pulls an Eddie Guerrero, does the whole toss the chair spot, make it look like Cedric tried to use it. He slammed it against the mat, tosses it to Alexander, and that's that. Final round of the draft, and next week we are throwing away a match. The match we're throwing away is Keith Lee and Braun Strowman. So then the final part of the draft, Raw gets Titus O'Neil, SmackDown gets Carmella, Raw gets Peyton Royce, SmackDown Aleister Black, Raw gets Akira Tozawa. This is the way you close the draft? Oi. And then we throw away the final segment of Raw with a women's battle royal. Now, I do not disrespect women's wrestling, but battle royals just for the sake of filling time on for the main event of a show. I mean, they've almost done 1,300 episodes of Raw. I think it's something like that. 1,200, 1,300, whatever. This is how you end a show during football season? Really? I could have a full-blown substance abuse issue and be partially in a coma and write this show better than what they're doing. And yes, I realize I'm not going to get that opportunity. And yes, I realize it sounds like bragging, but they have so much talent that they throw away. Anyway, Asuka's on commentary. Nia Jax works together with Tamina. Eliminates her, though. Billie Kay is gone. Jax eliminates others, including Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Basically, all the women teamed up, get rid of Jax. And Baszler helps eliminate her tag partner. Asuka finds this funny. Asuka's there on commentary the whole time. Jax is angry. She puts Lana through a table for the 4th or 5th time in the past several weeks. And McIntyre and Orton are fighting in the back. This is worth cutting away from the match in the ring for. Natalya eliminates Peyton Royce during the break. Lacey Evans eliminates Nikki Cross. Bianca Belair eliminates Shayna Baszler. That was surprising. Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan eliminate Baszler. Final four are Lacey Evans, Natalya, Ruby Riott, and Liv Morgan. Actually, Lana's in there too, so I wrote that down incorrectly. Anyway, Asuka's shown watching from the back, even though she's on commentary before the break. They fight on the apron. Natalya chucks Evans out of the ring, and she's supposed to be the winner, but the bell doesn't ring. Lana comes out. She dumps Natalya, and she's going to face Asuka next week. I guess that means Natalya and Lana are going to feud now. McIntyre and Orton brawl to the ring. Officials run in to break it up, and they end the show. I am so... In one way, I'm glad that I'm covering this. In one way, I'm really disappointed. The way that I'm glad is that it forces me to watch this stuff, because I wouldn't otherwise. But in another way, I feel so sad for the talent on a regular basis. Anyway, we're going to close out the World Class Series this week. UWN, AEW Dark, and Impact tomorrow night. So lots of good content. Keeping it coming. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.